We are live.
Hi there, and welcome to another Ronin Nazarin Talks episode, another deathmatch. Today with special guest, the Diabolic Dullard, or the Vulgarian Troglodyte, or SGS Arts, or SGS Films. And today we're going to talk about little seen films or underrated films, but little gems that we think are gems that should be seen more. Basically an excuse to talk about some films and recommend some films. Another death match to the death.
Yeah. Basically, this is a return because we've been away for a couple of months. It's just been like life happens sometimes, and things slow down. But we're back to bore the hell out of you with bizarre films that you think, is that film made up? Was that film real? So yes, they're all real films. Just in case you're wondering, we would not make up films, would we? Would we? Dullard, would you make him a film and see if anyone caught you?
Yeah, maybe, but not this time.
All right. So you can trust 2 out of 3. That's good. So, but we don't have Chris and Mohan here this time. So, Chris, enjoy your holiday. Obviously, your family counts more than us,
which is ridiculous. Get back on YouTube. The whole of
YouTube.
And I'm now on a family holiday, but I'm still here, so
yeah.
I'm more
can be done. Yeah.
I promised them we'd mention them for contractual reasons.
Yes.
But there's 3 of us. So what we normally do is we all choose like 5 films, and then there's an extra slot. So we'll all nominate a film for the extra slot. So we'll have to argue that one first before we can get to the deathmatch. So for the extra slot, Vulgarian had The Collector. Well, Ronin had Wife of Seishu Kanadoka, and I had Rapa Nui. So we'll have to discuss these first. So I'll let the Dullard, since he's a guest who's always here, basically.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it.
Should really change the channel name.
No, we're not.
Guest. I'm just part of the show. So.
Make him feel like he has to earn it.
I think I've heard it. I've been here for many years, like in every episode.
Yeah. Okay, we'll let you go first.
Yeah. So of course there are many films called The Collector, but this is a Finnish film from the late 90s. It's a thriller, and many Finnish films maybe aren't underrated in Finland, but they are underrated overseas. But I think this is quite underrated in Finland as well, and it's not usually very well accessible. But it's about this crazy woman who goes to this road trip, and she leaves all this carnage behind her, but she doesn't really understand what she's doing. But this is like a very stylistic, very artsy type of thriller, but still quite accessible. I think stylistically it's a bit like the Dutch film The Vanishing, a little bit, but maybe a bit more, bit less realistic in a way. But yeah, this is like the main female character is really, really great, and it gives a great performance. So it doesn't have that kind of typical trench coat, hat wearing, macho shithead as the main character, but it has a very interesting female character for once. So that kind of makes this thriller a bit different than many of the French thrillers or American thrillers that we usually talk about in YouTube. But yeah, I think this is a film that both of you would probably like, although there's not really a good way for you to watch it because it's not really available. So that's the problem. Yeah.
This deathmatch is about films you can barely see. I saw some of the titles and I was like, okay, some of these are hard to get hold of. So, in case you're probably looking down, I forgot to turn my phone off before we started. I realised just as Troglodyte started talking, I was like, my phone's still on. Bucker. Sorry that. So, Ronin, your turn now.
Well, I think as Double D said, I think a lot of the problem is availability, especially for Finnish films. I think Finnish cinema would have a much better profile if stuff was actually available. And it's the same with my pick, The Wife of Seishu Hanaoka by Masamura, who's quickly probably in my top 5 Japanese directors now. He's under Scene himself, even though obviously he has been getting some releases by Arrow. This stars the wonderful Yakao Wakeo, who's quickly becoming one of my favourite actresses, and also Hideo Takamine. But this is an unofficial DVD, which again is problems with availability. This is based on a true story-ish about the doctor, who was one of the first to use anesthesia in the world. But it's the story of his wife, played by Wakeo, and Takamine as his mother, and their two relationships, because both of them want to be his guinea pig. He's done the knocking out anesthesia on animals, but he wants to do it on humans, and the two of them basically fight each other to be his guinea pig. It's just absolutely wonderful, but again, it's an unofficial DVD, and it's another one of his films that you can't actually see very easily.
Yes. Yeah. Officially, we do not condone this kind of awful behaviour by Ronin, but, you know, film fans, you know, we do what we can.
Yes.
You know. If it was available officially, we'd get it officially.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, right. So mine's is Rapa Nui, which is unusually for this one, is actually a film that was actually had a budget. And then it came out and it was a massive bomb. And people were like, how did they try to find money for this film of all films? Because it's about Easter Island and those massive faces you've got in Easter Island, the statues, because it was discovered and basically the island's empty. So this is an imagination about what happened, who built these statues. And it's basically a story about like tribal warfare in different tribes. One tribe is a leadership tribe, one tribe's the worker tribe, and there's a lot of tension between them. And there's a lot of religious beliefs that are obviously absurd when you step outside it, but they believe it. And there are all these rituals. There's a chase every year, and whoever wins the chase, their tribe becomes the tribe, which leads to the best action scene in the film, which is basically where they have to do this race that goes down a cliff, across shark-infested waters, onto an island to get this, get an egg, then get back along the shark-infested waters, back up the cliff, which is a great action scene. It's directed by Kevin Reynolds, who did The Beast and Fandango. And it is a complete folly. It made no money. It lost a fortune. It was that film that a director could make after he'd had a big hit. And I adore this film, but it's weird as hell. And there's another video on it. You can catch it on the Warner Archives from America. It costs a fortune.
Well, I would say because it's available on DVD and Blu-ray, that disqualifies it.
What? Wait, it's available. All my stuff's available. You're just cheating. It's available if you're willing to spend a fortune on it, which I did. It's prohibitive cost. Okay, I'm voting for Ronin's film, by the way.
I'm gonna vote for Ronin's film because it's Japanese. So.
I was gonna vote for the Diabolical film just because it's Finnish and we somehow need to get more Finnish films released on proper releases. But
hey, you've already Harland film this year, The Strangers Part 2.
Okay, that's my argument crushed.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So so Ronin wins.
That's the last time this episode. Excellent.
Yeah. No, I kind of suspected you were going to win. Actually, that one.
That is a brilliant film.
I know, but going Japanese with us too. That's cheating.
Yeah. and it's 2 wonderful female performances.
Right, so now we have basically now we've got the 16. So now we just do head-to-heads rather than like all 3 of us going. So it's so I'm now trying to find the first one to do, because I've got them all, but I don't want to do them in order. I'd rather just do them randomly. So I'll go with the 2 films. I put the 2 films that we've covered before together, which is Men with Guns versus From Paris with Love. Because I figured these 2 have been brought up before, so we might as well put them. Plus, they've got guns. Both of them have guns in the films.
Yeah, Men with Guns.
Yes.
But my film has John Travolta, so it should automatically win. But yeah,
What, Battlefield Earth, John Travolta?
with a goatee and he's bald as well. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do my research. I should have went with another John Sayles film, but I went with the one with subtitles. But I think that's what I said the last time. I mean, Men with Guns is one of his masterpieces, obviously underseen because most of his films are. I mean, that has changed recently, but Men with Guns is an absolute masterwork and deserves to be seen. Federico Lippi from Kronos and The Devil's Backbone gives another wonderful performance as a doctor with privilege. I mean, we open the film, he's got his finger up the general's bottom.
Well, that's privilege.
Yep. And it's basically in an unnamed South American, Central American country that's at war. And he finds out one of his medical students that he sent out into the real world, because he really doesn't have a grasp of the real world, has been killed. So he decides to go on this trip to find all his other medical students. And as he goes through the country and goes higher and higher into the jungle and into the mountains, he comes across the stories of each of them. He comes across different stragglers that he picks up, a disillusioned priest, a soldier on the run, a small kid who's more savvy about the real world than he is, a woman who's been raped by both sides probably, and obviously his eyes are opened to actually what's going on in his country. You even have the sales humour of having Mandy Patinkin turn up with his wife as American tourists, just in the middle and as usual doing American tourist things. It's just another absolute masterwork. This was his reaction to Lone Star and getting an Oscar nomination. It's like, okay, I'll then do a film with subtitles and set it in South America or Central America. Absolutely beautiful. But again, it has subtitles for people that are subtitle averse. But it should be one of the next ones that gets a release along with Passion Fish. I was going to go with Passion Fish as well, but I could go with Sunshine State or Brother from Another Planet as well. But that's Men with Guns. So that's my sales pick out of the way. I don't have another 4 sales films, even though I easily could.
Okay.
Dullard. John Travolta.
Be diabolical.
Yeah, well, my film is directed by a Frenchman and not an American, so that makes it better. But some of it is subtitled as well. So, yeah, although most of it is in English.
Yeah, but does John Travolta start the film with finger up General's ass?
No, but he starts with giving this great speech at an airport about energy drinks. So,
okay.
And he says the Royal with cheese line in this film too. So.
Okay.
And he does, and he's sniffing coke in Eiffel Tower. So how can you do better than that?
Anything else? Come on, you better pitch this one a bit more than that.
Well, it's a remake of one of the best American films of the 21st century, Training Day. It has Jonathan Rhys Meyers, who I think Ronin mentioned in one of his recent reviews.
Yeah.
Has he ever been any good?
No, that's the problem. But,
yeah.
But he's like a B version of Ethan Hawke. So.
Yeah. I like Velvet Goldmine. That's it.
I haven't seen that one. So.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Ronin choice this one, mainly because From Paris with Love I have seen, and it's bloody awful, and it deserves to be even less known than it is.
I would argue it's probably actually been seen by quite a few people, especially
Beloved by few.
Post Pulp Fiction Travolta fans. So.
It's
I haven't seen it.
You don't want to.
I mean, the only argument that I can make for John Sayles is that he's a socialist, and this film that I'm talking about is very far right because it's all about police officers going against immigrants and stuff.
Well, you really help your cause here.
Did you get the wrong email about this?
I think he's been sarcastic in this choice. Yeah. For me, it's a win for Ronin, so you can vote.
Well, I'll go for my pick, but
I'll go for my pick. Seems enough.
Right, so
this time it won't.
Double D hasn't swayed me with his argument.
No. I don't think there was much of an argument.
It's the only time a sales film will win. So
yeah, I'm trying to find one with. Okay, we'll go with Letter from Siberia versus Darkness and Tallinn. So who is Darkness and Tallinn? Right. So I'll let you do first, then I'll do my Letter from Siberia.
Well, I couldn't even dig out my collector's edition burned off the television in 1994 disc that I have. That's how unknown it is. I believe it was on Moviedrome back in the day, but I could be wrong in that. It's from 1993. It's also known as City Unplugged.
It's a modern film. For you, it's a modern film.
Yes, 1993. It was actually directed by a Finnish gentleman. I'm not going to pronounce his name. Well, I will, but it will be wrong. Ika Jarve Laturi, who sadly died at the age of 62. Who I didn't even realise that, but he went to Hollywood and made Spy Games with Bill Pullman and Irene Jacob, bizarrely. But this is a film, strangely enough, set in Estonia in 91, once Estonia got their independence from the USSR. I think I threw in an extra S there. And $1 billion has been put into the Estonian National Bank, which was hidden in Paris during this time. And the Russian mob plan on robbing it by cutting the city of Tallinn's power. And that's all I'll say about it. It is a wonderful little film that, again, really deserves to be resurrected. I don't know whether somebody like Radiance or maybe Second Run would do it, but it has been in the wasteland for, well, it's now 30 odd years, which is kind of sad.
So why is it so great? You give the plot.
Well, most of it takes place in the dark because there's obviously no power. It has some wonderful comedic moments, and it's just a wonderful, unusual heist film, and obviously with political underpinnings of a new state and a new country getting independence and all the corruption and chaos that comes with it.
Cool. So mine's is the Chris Marker. This is my John Sayles. Since we did John Sayles, this is my version of John Sayles, which is Chris Marker. That's the one I'll bore you in tears with. This actually is a collection that's no longer available. Chris Marker collection, which he got. A lot of his films are very rare because you normally get Sans Soleil and the short film that became 12 Monkeys. That's normally you get with Chris Marker, and the rest of the films are much harder to find. So you might get the Owl's Legacy, but this collection had all of the short films in it. But now they weren't in very good discs even in my collection. Sometimes you have to try them on a different machine. That's how high tech this collection is. But Letter from Siberia is from the 50s, and during the Cold War, Chris Marker made a film about Siberia, looking at the culture of it, how people survived in the wastelands of Siberia, which is not hospitable. It's bloody cold, and basically it's about their mores, about what they actually. So you see them as human beings, and see how human beings are all the same everywhere. Basically, you have to basically work a society to survive. You have to have an infrastructure. You have people with their interests. So even though you've got a big thing about Russia being a communist state, it's actually just a state for the people who are trying to survive. The politicians are more different than the actual people themselves. And at one point, Marker actually has a shot where he does 3 different versions: the communist government version, the US version, and just a general version of a shot which shows how the people live, to suggest basically that we're imposing our cultural values on just human behaviour. So it's a very humanist film about somewhere that in the 50s there's propaganda about, and it's just a beautiful film. I mean, Marcus also went to China and did stuff from China as well, showing the people. So he did a lot of things that are films that are wonderful and just radical by just showing people as people. So this film should be seen by everyone, but you barely get hold of it now. As I said, I bought this years ago, and it's out of print. It's out of print for years. Most of these films are impossible to find.
Well, that's a difficult choice. Both of them sound very interesting, so I don't know.
No pressure.
I really don't know. I should just flip a coin or something, but I don't. Well, Ronin's pick just won, so I'll say Nazarin and Chris Marker.
Okay, thank you. What do you think, Ronin? I'm picking mine, of course.
I mean, Darkness and Tallinn is more of a genre picture with obviously political stuff behind it, whereas I think Chris Marker is obviously more important on his films should be seen, but yeah, it's one of those filmmakers that nobody really bothers about, but probably should. So I'm not upset about that. So.
Okay, well, Letter from Siberia wins this one. And I think it's one of the cases where there are no real losers, but just highlighting films that no one has seen. So you should watch all of these. And
yeah, everybody's a winner when it comes to cinema.
And I'll put a list of films down on the description after we're finished anyway. So if you're interested, you can see the titles of which ones are available. Even the ones that lost in the first round, I'll put down my list, Ronin's list, and Dudlard's list.
And hopefully some Rennie Harlin honorable mentions as well. So.
Nope. Not even for Driven. I thought it was a good joke, but obviously not. Right. I'm now trying to match it up so that no one's talking for too long. So I'll go with me versus Troglodyte with Bad Boys versus Stereo Crimes of the Future. Yep.
I'll just hold this up over my face.
Well, I can hold this up. Videodrome, where you also have this one. And if you want to get his taken down, this one.
Yes. That's a lovely hold.
Yep. But I'll let SGS start for his one.
Yeah, so this is a Finnish film and not the Will Smith, Martin Lawrence film, Bad Boys. So, but this is
the Sean Penn one. There's a Sean Penn one too.
That one I haven't seen, I think.
I haven't either. I just know it exists.
Yeah. But I kind of hate Sean Penn, so I don't want to see it. So, yeah. But anyway, Bad Boys. So this was actually a huge cultural hit in Finland back in the 2000, so this is more of a mainstream film, but lots of fun. So it's about these 4 brothers, and they have this crazy father who kills their mother, and then the father goes to a mental hospital, and later on he escapes the mental hospital, but the father is basically like Jack Torrance from The Shining, so absolutely insane, not sharp, but also really funny. But these brothers live in this like a small town, and they rob like slot machines and gas stations and stuff, so they become like very well-known criminals. And I think this is like partly based on a true story, so some of it happened, but of course they make it more intense and fun in this movie than it was in real life. And it's also a very homoerotic film because all the guys are constantly without their shirts on, and they all have six-pack abs and nice like chests and huge biceps and stuff. So that's
Is that true to
fun.
Finland? Is that true to Finland?
Maybe,
Is that
no, unfortunately it isn't. So it's too cold for people to be without their shirts.
Oh well.
But yeah, it's a fun kind of a action comedy thriller with that kind of psychological thriller element with the crazy father, but it's also a lot of fun, but at the same time it's not like a masterpiece or anything, because there are lots of flaws to the film, like the editing is quite bad, some of the camera work is quite bad, because of course the resources here for filmmaking are fairly small usually, because they are like government funded, and as the population is so small, they won't make that much money from the tickets, even though this was a popular hit back in the day. So there are some of those kind of technical issues, but still it's a fun and very accessible film that's still very popular here, like 22 years later, and I think people overseas will probably enjoy it as well. And it's currently on like Finnish Netflix, but I don't know if it can be watched on like other countries' Netflix with English stuff, but yeah, I'm not sure about that.
All right, I'd never heard of that one. I've never tried Finnish Netflix. So that thing is, if you've got a VPN, that is available, but you never think of doing it for those kind of countries. Okay, mine's is the 2 early Cronenberg films. I should say straight away that these films are fascinating but boring. Like, there's no getting around it. Yeah, even Cronenberg said you don't want to watch these in double bill. So yeah, and they tend to meld together in your head once you've seen them. It's one of those kind of films where you watch one and watch one another a couple of days later, because they are very art house, and the reason I'm bringing them up is they're so Cronenberg in the themes, and they're so art house, 60s art house in their execution. So it's all about like plagues and telekinesis and all these kind of weird like experiments on people. And one of them, there's a plague that kills all women, so it becomes about idea what do men become without women, and how some become feminized and how some try to become more female. And it's just about the human nature without like how does human nature evolve when to extreme, and how does humans work basically if you take away something. But they are really art house. They are like also quite disturbing. There's one point where there is this plague, and there's a little girl, and someone has to impregnate her. They have to try and pedophile to impregnate to create a new person to be born. And it's like, obviously it's really disturbing because no one can do it, and it's just this strange dark thing it's not going to be easy viewing for anybody. So so I bring it up because it is like, even for Cronenberg, some of that stuff's dark and it is hard to watch. But everything suggested rather than showed, no, that's the thing. It's like, no, I don't want you to think it's really like extreme, like, it's not, it's more suggested. So, but you can find these through Arrow, but I'm not sure many people would try and find them though.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've seen the Cronenberg ones, and I haven't heard of the Finnish one. But again, I think I'll go for the Finnish unavailable, as we need more Finnish cinema. I mean, I think for Cronenberg, as interesting as they are, obviously they're not close to his best stuff, and I would argue that people should try and see something like Spider, which is underseen and underappreciated. So I would vote for the Finnish film just to try and see some more Finnish cinema.
Yeah, I would too, actually, because again, I'm bringing this up to see you see it, but it's like I know it illusions this one would get very far. Yeah.
Yeah, and my film is something that I think you probably would enjoy, although it might be for like, what the hell is this type of video series rather than like masterpiece series or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, most of my choices are bring them up so people can hear about them, so they can say, "Oh, maybe I should see that." It's not really me trying to win anything, right? So I'm now going to the Annihilation of Fish versus Still Life.
DD, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. So this was actually a last-minute choice for me because I watched it this week, and this is a film that has been just restored to 4K, I think, earlier this year or last year. There's even a trailer for it in the Kino Lorber YouTube channel, so I think maybe they will release it soon, but I watched it online. But yeah, this is from one of the great independent American filmmakers, Charles Burnett, starring James Earl Jones. So this is kind of a weird romantic comedy, but it's not like a traditional romantic comedy because it's about two people who both see hallucinations. So there is a woman who sees hallucinations about like a 19th century opera composer, and she thinks that she's dating that composer, even though she actually isn't, obviously, because it's just an hallucination. And then James Earl Jones is this Jamaican guy who gets out of a mental institution, but he still sees hallucinations about like wrestling a demon. But we don't actually see the hallucinations, but we just see them like talking to like thin air, and there's nobody there. But yeah, then these two people who see hallucinations, they start like developing this relationship because they both move to the same apartment building, I think in San Francisco. And yeah, it's a heartwarming kind of low-key romance with that kind of fun mental health twist to it. Sometimes it feels like it kind of walks the fine line between being like too ridiculous and stupid and then being like really good. But this is one of those films, I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece, but it's like a very strong, solid, good film and a good time, very humanist as well. And James Earl Jones is great in it, and the other actresses and actors are great in it as well. And I really enjoyed this film, and I think it deserves more love. And like I said, it might be coming to Blu-ray sometime soon.
Yeah, obviously Killer of Sheep is getting a 4K from Criterion soon, and also Criterion's get To Sleep with Anger, which I've got. So yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that. I saw that you had watched it. Yeah, but my pick is completely niche, and only I think a small percentage of people would actually appreciate it and be kind of affected by it. I do have to apologise. It is in English.
Oh, damn you! Why?
But it is directed by an Italian called Pasolini, but not that one. So it is, directed in Italian.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Does it come in other languages, so you can just go to the language and have English subtitles?
No, it's only in English, and it's It's 2014, so practically it was made yesterday. I don't know what I'm doing. Again,
why did you write down as 1993? What do you think you sent me?
Oh yeah, that was a mistake. It's 2014.
All right. Okay.
I saw it in 1993.
All right.
Starring the wonderful, underrated Eddie Marsden. Again, he is a man who works for the council, and he's responsible for going round when single people die to try and find relatives to go to their funerals. Otherwise, they're just buried without much procession. So it follows somebody who lives opposite him, who dies, and it just follows his investigation into their life and try and get people who knew them, relatives, to actually come to the funeral. Again, it's a low-key film. It's not for everybody, but if you are like me, who will die alone and end up melting into the carpet, it kind of strikes a chord with you. I certainly identify with Eddie Marsden's character, and the ending, which the ending is a gamble, which some people will absolutely hate, and other people like me, it'll destroy them. So again, this is not a for everybody film, but most of the films that I love aren't for everybody. But if you are that small percentage that will identify with this, it is an absolute jaw dropper.
Okay, yeah. Ronin has done a good video on this, by the way. You can go to his channel, you can find his video because he did more detail about it.
Yeah, that's available.
Yes. I have it, but haven't watched it. Like I think I've got it streaming, but I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, I have seen.
Pun?
Yeah, I have seen the other still life that Tony mentioned in the comments, but not this one. But I do want to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing you want in the right mood for. I don't think it's one you can just chuck on and just say, "Oh, let's have some fun with still life." To be honest, I'm going to go with the Dullards one because I'm a big Charles Burnett fan. I really like Charles Burnett, and I already know about still life. I know about. This other one, I barely know about. Even for Charles Burnett films, this one still seems like obscure.
Yeah, I'll go for the Diabolical one as well because it's got James Earl Jones. I need to watch some more Charles Burnett because I've only got 2 in the collection.
Yeah, I think this film was like almost completely lost until recently, but now it has been in some like limited theater runs and stuff. So.
Yeah,
and as I said, still life is only going to seem like a masterwork to a very select audience.
Yeah.
If you have a happy life with family and kids and lots of friends, you're not going to be affected by it, I think, as much.
Yep. So, yeah. So thanks, Tony, for that comment. We'll now go. So that's Annihilation of Fish. I think that's going to be the one to beat for obscurity. If you want to go for obscurity, this one seems really obscure, even for some of our choices. But I'm going to go for Journey to the Beginning of Time versus Rapina, which is 1975. So I'll let you, Rapina, start.
Okay, this is a film from Mexico by Carlos Enrico Taboada, which is in this lovely Vinegar Syndrome set. It is essentially the treasure of the Sierra Madre with 2 poor Mexican farmers who are those 2 chaps here.
Yeah.
Who, while they're up the mountain, they come across the wreckage of a plane. And of course, instead of doing the right thing, they ransack all the corpses and all the luggage, and obviously want to make money and escape their poverty. And then, as you can probably guess, things unravel. Other people come across the scene, and the guys have to deal with that. And the lies that they tell just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you can probably tell if you've seen The Treasure of the Sierra Madre where that ends up. But it's just wonderful to see, another community, another country. Obviously, you've got the poverty and you've got the landowner angle, and you've got, which side the police is on. And you've just got a couple of great performances from the 2 lead actors and also their wives and how they deal with it, and how, as we all know, greed can just change a person's behaviour and their character, but then maybe their character was in there all the time. But it's just a wonderful little film, and again, it's just great to see films from other countries. And I would highly recommend this trilogy, to be honest, because the other two films in it are very good as well. Poison for the Fairies is about one of the most evil little blonde girls you'll ever want to meet, and Darker Than Night is a more kind of Edgar Allan Poe working. But Rapina is just a wonderful, wonderful version of a story that we're familiar with, but it's nice to see it from another angle.
So basically what you're saying is that if you ever found money, you would kill both of us. Is that right?
Well, that depends on the amount.
All right. How much is our lives worth?
It's difficult to draw that line in the sand until it's actually glistening in front of you.
But who would you kill first, me or the Finnish guy? Just wondering. All right.
You're probably easier because you're in the same country.
Yeah, plus I can't really run away as much. Yeah. I'm older. I'm easy to kill. Right. Mine's is Journey to the Beginning of Time, which is a Carl Zeman film, yep. This is a wonderful film. Now, you can catch it in second run, but it's still very little seen. And a lot of Carl Zeman films are the same way. They're films that certain people know, but they should be better known by the mass audiences because they're not actually like difficult films. They're very entertaining films. But because they're a foreign language and they're from the Cold War, everyone thinks they must be political in some way, and it's like they're charming. This one's about kids going down a river. It's a kids' film. Going down a river, and the further they go down the river, the more they go back in time to see different animals and different things from our past. And that's it. It's charming. It's wonderful. It's you could show it to kids and they'd love it. It's just one of those things. There's dinosaurs from the 60s that are very charming to see. And it's just an experience. And that's why I bring it in. It's experience. It's probably the most successful of the Zeman films. I mean, Bad Moonshine were probably a lot less accessible, but not much. They're all kind of wonderful films. So I'm bringing this up because it's one of my favourite kids' films, and no one's ever heard of it apart from people cars.
Yeah, I think Criterion have got a Blu-ray set as well if you've got lots of money. So.
Yeah, they do. But I'm actually going to go for Ronin's one because it really is hard to see, and I'm quite happy just to publicise this again. Say, go watch this. So I'll go with Ronin's just to make it publicise a bit more, since it's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either film's going to change your life or anything, but they're certainly wonderful films in their own right.
Oh, well, you're talking about it. I want to see that. So I thought, okay, well, if he's got me and I'm actually against him to see, I want to see that. That's a pretty good sign. What about you, Dallard?
Yeah, if I was still a naive, like asshole that I was as a kid, I loved dinosaurs back then, so I would have gone with the dinosaur one. But now that I'm a cynical adult, I will go with Ronin's one.
Yep. That's how diabolical of you. Again, it's one of those things that there are no losers, apart from Paris with Love, because the audience is the losers. No comment.
I've been meaning to watch those Karel Zeman films, but I just haven't gotten around to them yet. So.
Yeah, they're wonderful. Right, I'm trying to match this up so we're actually like so everyone gets a break, so no one's doing like 3 in a row. So we'll do Kamome Diner versus Strange Circus. That's me and the Finnish one. So I'll let you go since you had a break.
Yeah, so this is actually both a Japanese and a Finnish film, so it kind of goes to my heart because of that. So
I've lost
my
already.
favorite things. So. But this is probably my favorite first time watch of the year so far. Although granted, my film watching year has been pretty awful in terms of finding new favorites. But so this is by again a female Japanese director called Naoko Ogigami, who is quite underrated, and her films are fairly underseen, especially this one. But yeah, it came out in 2006, and it's about this Japanese woman who starts a Japanese restaurant in Helsinki, Finland, and she has trouble getting new customers, but then slowly all of these weird Finnish people start going there and building those cultural connections. And then she also meets another Japanese woman in Helsinki, and that woman comes to work at the diner. So there's this constant, again, exploration of both the Finnish and Japanese culture and how they clash together. But I think this bit of a mix of like Aki Kaurismäki style with maybe a little bit of like Ozu. So it's very calm and peaceful. It focuses on the little things and the little interactions between people, but it also has that kind of dry humor element to it. It has a pretty naturalistic, simple style to it. But it's a very heartwarming, kind of simple slice of life film where not much happens, but this the type of film that I just love to watch and get lost in, just watching those small interactions between people. And yeah, it's a fun time, but I think many people will find it boring because not much happens. There's no like big drama there or anything that's very thrilling. It's just simple, peaceful life stuff, nothing more, but nothing less either. So, but it's a really great little film.
Cool. Well, we'll like it, but well, obviously Ronin doesn't like Ozu, so he won't get it.
Yeah,
I like Ozu. I never said I don't like Ozu.
yeah. But he likes Kaurismäki, so yeah.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't resist. Since you mentioned Ozu, it was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely making that joke.
I'm up to 21% in Ozu.
Right, okay.
And this film doesn't have a love story, so that's what that might pull Ronin in because it doesn't have a romance in it.
Yeah. So mine's a Strange Circus, which is a Sion Sono film. And if you thought that the Cronenberg films were offensive, you've really seen nothing yet. That's a film that I saw on a online site. I managed to buy it on iTunes. And you're watching thinking, what the hell am I watching this? How is this even released? Because it deals with incest, pedophilia, and stories within stories, and people with histories that are all kind of messed up. And it's like, did any of this happen? Or was it all inside people's heads? Is it reality or fantasy? And it's like basically the idea of a child abused early, and it's like the child growing up and wanting revenge, and about who is the child and who is the parents that has abused them, and you try to figure it all out because people keep making claims that they're the child growing up, or are they not? It's a very dark film. When you watch it, you feel you need to go for a shower afterwards. It's that kind of film, and it's like you just feel you're watching something. It's kind of like watching Bad Lieutenant and the Rainbow Ferrara one, where it's like you really feel like grungy after it, thinking, Jesus Christ, what have I just seen? And it's really hard to find. I was amazed I saw it on iTunes because it's like very few people have heard of it. You have to be a real Sion Sono fan to even know about it. So it's as gruesome as you can possibly get. I cannot recommend it, but it's the definition of a little scene film. That's maybe deserves to be a little scene, but it is really well made. It's just very disturbing.
Yeah, I love both of these films, so I'm fine with either one winning. Yeah.
Well, as you may or may not know, but controversially, I'm still not sold on Sono, even though I did watch Love Exposure and it was excellent. If a little overlong for me. But I'm going to have to go with Double D's choice because if it's a mix of Kaurismäki and Ozu, one director that I love and one that I like, then I'm going to go with The Diner.
Well, I'll go with Diner as well. Actually, it sounds interesting. So, yeah. basically, I'm losing. I mean, when I put this a game, I'm losing badly. I've had one success.
Well, to be fair, you said you can't even recommend it. So
I know. I know. The thing is, I went into this knowing a plot that what my choices were, but it's like I was looking at them like lost. Okay, I guess this is not my day.
Part is taking part.
I know. I'm actually quite fine as long as we get these films promoted. That's fine. So now we have Pharaoh versus Frozen Land.
Well, I can go first. So.
Yep.
So this is actually a Finnish film that you can get on DVD on Amazon. I think I just checked; it was like $7.95 or something, and it has English subtitles, so at least it's available.
Fucking hell! You're really going mainstream now.
That's got a strike against it already.
And it actually has some of the same actors as the Bad Boys film that I mentioned, and this actor is actually someone who has made it a little bit overseas as well, because he was in the Vikings TV show and he was in the Spike Lee film Black Klansman and also Da Five Bloods. That one I haven't seen, but anyway. So this film is one of those kind of films where there are like multiple interconnected stories and then they come together in the end. So a bit like some of the Altman films, for example, or Magnolia by PTA. But it's basically a very dark drama film from Finland that also has a thriller element to it. So we follow these different types of characters. My favorite character is probably this depressed vacuum cleaner salesman. So he goes door to door selling vacuum cleaners and nobody buys them. And that kind of turns him into a murderer in the film and stuff. But he's very like Finnish, that kind of dry, melancholic, depressed bastard that nobody cares about, like, but in a funny way. But then there is also this like manic, kind of middle-aged crazy guy who just goes absolutely insane, and he steals a car and shouts at people, and he meets this vacuum cleaner guy as well, and those scenes are absolutely hilarious. But this is one of those films that, like, it's a good film, but it definitely has its flaws, and it kind of is a bit like inconsistent. So some of it is really good, I think the first half especially, but then maybe it loses some steam at some points because, okay, like I said, it's about interconnected stories and different characters, and some of the characters are great, some of them are a bit less great, but I think overall it's a good film and a dark, fairly depressing film. Nothing really works out well for any of the characters in the film. And it was fairly popular here in Finland, but again, it was also got like, I think, like a limited release overseas, and I would call this like a middle-brow film. So it's not like extremely mainstream, but it's not like art house either. So it can be maybe liked by both more serious film watchers, but also a bit more kind of casual type of people. And I think you two might like it. And again, it's a dark film, a depressing film, so it's not happy-go-lucky. So maybe even Ronin might like it.
Our favourites. Let's watch films to tell you that life isn't worth living.
Yeah.
Yay!
As if we don't need to know that, yeah.
And this film, I think, is rated like 18 because it has like frontal nudity and like very gory violence and stuff like that.
Oh, the best kind of rating.
Yeah.
Well, Pharaoh is a film that is available on Blu-ray. It's second run, so it is widely available if people actually are interested in second run. This is a film that I can say is an absolute masterpiece without any irony. This was one of my films of the year. It's an absolute stunner.
But wasn't it replaced though?
Yeah, it has been replaced, but it's still.
How could it be the film of the year though if it was replaced?
I said it was one of my films of the year. If you want to replay the tape,
I don't want to replay the tape.
See that big button with two, yeah. It's Polish. It's set in ancient Egypt during the time of Ramses the 13th. It shouldn't make any sense. It shouldn't work. But It's takes the Hollywood epic. It was made in the 60s. It takes that Hollywood epic and completely blows it out of the water. The cinematography is redonkulous. The compositions are absolutely beautiful. There's ghosts. It's just a jaw dropper. It is one of those films that you watch and it's absolutely jaw dropping. It opens with a scarab beetle pushing some dung, which we all identify with. And then it has this character running backwards. Well, not running backwards, running the opposite direction of these endless phalanx of troops. It's just absolutely stunning. It's a bit kind of Shakespearean at times, as plots and mini plots and people change sides and allegiances. But it's a film you could watch without the volume. You would still understand, without the volume and without subtitles, you'd still understand what's going on. And visually, it's what cinema is about. It's just absolutely stunning. And if you watch this film and you're not blown away by it, there's obviously something wrong with you, I think. Not to be judgmental, but it's an absolute stunner.
So not to be judgmental, but if you don't like it, you're scum.
Yeah.
Andy, did you mention the blackface?
Well, it's slightly brown face.
Right, okay.
Yes, there's no Egyptian actors that were working in Poland. They shot it in, is it Tunisia, possibly? That could be wrong. I say it in my video that I made on it. Sorry, it was made in Uzbekistan. I apologise. It was made in Uzbekistan. It's absolutely stunning.
Okay. Right, so I'm going to go for this one, to be honest, because you've one Diabolical is saying it's quite good, and you're saying it's amazing. So you're both selling the film in a slightly different way. Plus,
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I was actually gonna go with Ronin's choice to kind of give a shout out to Second Run, who I think is one of the best Blu-ray labels, and I really want to see that film. And wasn't that made in 1966, maybe, which is my favorite film year of all time? So that's another random reason to go with it.
Yeah, Ronin, you could vote for Diabolical's film and still win if you want to really go for it.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Pharaoh is just that good. Again, if you don't pay any attention to anything apart from what you're looking at, forget what they're saying. It is just it's jaw dropping.
So we know that Ronin's a bad winner. Okay, we know that now.
It's the one film that I would. It's the one film I would be upset if it didn't make it past the first round, because it's.
Damn, you should have said that earlier.
Well, I didn't want to because I know what would happen. But
yeah, yes. Okay, we're now in the last one of the first round. We've got was the wife of Siska Hanaoka, which we already talked about. Against my choice, Let's Scare Jessica to Death, which
I also have. But
yes,
we know which one is gonna win because one of them is Japanese.
Yeah, I know. It was like, why do you even bother? so yeah, let's go. I'll just give the promo of how good it is, so you know just before I lose. Okay, just allow me to indulge how good this is. Because I thought that going to the extra one would give it a chance of getting through to the next round, but obviously not. Let's Get Jessica Death is a horror movie from the 70s. It is meandering, to be honest. It does go on for a while, but the atmosphere really works for it. It is like a strange film that is under your skin in a very unusual way. But it's also a hippie-ish horror movie, so it's just weird, and it's got that kind of late 60s, early 70s vibe, which actually gives its power. It's just like it's a genre movie with a lot of kind of countercultural elements to it, but it's also about just people going into the country and not realizing they're in it and they're out of debt, and it's just creepy and weird. And I put it in this one because not enough people have seen it, and they should have seen it because it is very good. and it's one of those films that should be up there with like Night of the Living Dead and all those films from the early 70s that are big horror films, and this one isn't. And that's a tragedy. So that's my selling point.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very good film, and again, it's a film that's actually difficult to talk about plot-wise because it is all atmosphere and it is how it makes you feel, and it is images. So it is kind of difficult to talk about it in a nuts and bolts type way. But I would highly recommend it as well. But it's not anywhere near as good as this. Sorry.
Okay.
Objectively.
Okay,
I mean, this has got a Yako Wakeo in it. So
okay.
I'm in love with Yako Wakeo, but it's got a Yako Wakeo in it.
Diabolical, just shoot me in the head now and you go.
Yeah, I'll go with the Japanese one because I like the actresses and I like the director as well.
All right. Okay.
But the other one sounded really interesting too, so I'll watch that one in the future as well.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the first round where basically it feels like Ronin has not lost at all, and you know,
lost once.
Once he lost once.
I lost once.
We need to gang up against him now. So.
Yeah, no, let's trash him.
Is it my fault? I just picked really good films.
But you don't have to be smug about it.
As they all get beat in the second round.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll go 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2. Because I've got them across from each other, and then we can. Yeah. So it's Bad Boys versus Men with Guns.
Bad Boys.
Men with Guns.
Men with Guns.
Well, it's an American director, so how can you go with that? No.
It's got subtitles.
Oh, well, this one does too. I mean, not for me, but for you guys.
Yeah, but right. So Men with Guns.
Do you ever watch a Finnish film with Finnish subtitles to see how accurate they are?
No, but I've watched a couple of Finnish films with English subtitles, like the Kamome Diner, which some of it, the dialogue was in Finnish, some of it in Japanese, but some of the dialogue in the subtitles was actually wrongly translated. So,
right.
Yeah.
So now we have Rapina versus Annihilation of Fish.
I'll go Annihilation of Fish.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too, I guess. Even though it's an American director.
At least you've just contradicted yourself.
It's your own choice. It's your choice, that one.
It's just anti John Sayles sentiment for some reason.
No, but he says it's American. It's his choice, that one. He made that choice. We're actually going with his over Ronin's. Right. Pharaoh versus Kamome Diner.
I would say Pharaoh, but I'm really fascinated by Kamome Diner, though.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the Diner one, actually.
Yeah, it's Japanese and a little bit of Finnish. So, yeah.
Right, so Kamome Diner is the... that one just seemed interesting, so I just... Plus, you know, the idea of throwing out Pharaoh is quite enjoyable. So this is my last choice now, so I know I'm getting killed here. It's the wife of Seishu, Hanaoka versus Letter from Siberia.
The Masamura, please.
Yeah, Masamura.
Pricks.
The power of Yako Wakeo.
Yeah, you got your John Sayles, but did I get my Chris Marker? No, I did not. Right. So, so we're going Annihilation of Fish versus Men with Guns.
I mean, I'm still going to go Men with Guns, but it's obviously very close because I really, really want to see Annihilation of Fish because James Earl Jones is in it.
I'm gonna go with my choice.
So that's the first of the finals, right? Give me a second here. I'm just trying to make sure I don't. Oh God, come on!
We'll have a Japanese battle then, I think, next. So that's gonna be difficult.
All right. So yeah, so give me a second here. So we've got Kamome Diner versus the wife of Seishu Hanaoka.
I'm sorry, I'm still going to go with Masamura because it's a great film.
Yeah, I'm going with that one too, to be honest. It's
I put it 5 stars on Letterboxd, it must be.
Yeah, no.
I'm fine with either one. So
yeah. So,
and we know who's gonna win the final because it's Japanese. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. So with Annihilation versus the wife of Shisha Hanaoka. So
I mean, you said yourself Annihilation of Fish might not be a great film.
Yeah.
Did you not? Yeah. And I think this is a great film. Even
look
although
who's competitive now. If you look who's competitive.
I've been beaten in the second round every time, just about.
I was beaten the first round every time.
But beating in the second round's worse because you're closer to glory.
So the first round is pretty consistent. Again.
It's roughly based on a true story. This guy did exist as being one of the first to deal with anesthesia. You know, from his perspective, you know, he might get sidelined a little bit by the 2 powerhouse performances, but you see his drive. He's not really bothered about anything else apart from this goal of getting this discovery. But it's really the 2 women fighting over the right to be unconscious for longer that is really the powerhouse of the film.
Can I make a suggestion? Both win. They beat it to the final.
No, that's cowardly. One.
All right, that's fine. Okay.
Everybody wins when Japan wins. So
yeah, I'm going with the wife of Shisha Hanaoka, to be honest.
Hopefully one day we'll actually get a proper release of it.
Yeah, so that one. I'm going with the one that was gotten
by backup.
Yes, right.
The backup one. So
yeah. So what's your choice? Diabolical.
Yeah, the wife of Seishu Hanaoka. So I'm trying to flex my Japanese skills here. So
yeah. So basically, the one that won was basically the extra choice at the start.
Yeah.
Is the actual winner. So
it's an amazing underdog story, which is fitting, and it's the one that doesn't actually have an official release either. So
that's fitting as well. So yeah. So glad you've got the title. I'll put the all the titles in the description later.
And I also made a video about Kamome Diner earlier this year. So
yep. So success. Ronin will look smug now, and we will just go away and cry. How's that?
Well, we succeeded in creating a wonderful underdog story.
Yes.
It could work for Hollywood.
Yeah. All right.
But we're not perverse enough.
Yeah, I think we've actually showed up a lot of good films that you should try and watch. Was the main point of this thing. So, says the man who lost horribly.
Yeah, the take-home message is we need more releases of Finnish films, not just Rennie Harlan ones.
Yeah. What about Kurzmaki?
More Rennie Harlan too, because none of his films are on boutique Blu-ray, or most of them aren't. I think Cutthroat Island wasn't that released, but yeah.
What, Cutthroat Island?
Yeah.
It's on 4K from Studio Canal. You can get it. One of us in this channel has it.
I wonder who that could be.
It was a actual 3-for-2 offer.
Of course, yes. There was no other alternative.
Hey, I was buying King Kong remake from the 70s. And Cross of Iron. There's at least one good film in there.
It was either that or Howard the Duck in 4K.
And I guess maybe Nightmare on Elm Street 4 that he directed might go to like Scream Factory or Vinegar Syndrome.
It probably will, actually.
Yeah.
Well, there is a 4K Steelbook box set coming out of all the Nightmare on Elm Streets for $200 or something.
I've got A Long Kiss Goodnight on 4K as well. That's actually a decent film.
Still haven't seen that, even though I'm a fanboy of the director.
Yeah, you have to see it. It's good fun. It's unusually good for a Rennie Harlin film. I do like Cliffhanger, to be honest. Cliffhanger's nice and stupid. Yeah.
We even got it in 4K.
Yeah, we mock him affectionately.
And Deep Blue Sea is pretty good.
Oh yeah, I've got Deep Blue Sea in 4K. But...
I don't have that one actually. Okay, I don't feel so bad now. Yeah, you can always watch I think The Legend of Hercules in 3D. I've seen that in 3D. His Hercules film that is not very good. You were amazed to hear. What?
It's fun though.
I know.
Very good, but fun.
Yes. So we're talking about great film, now we're talking about Rennie Harlin films.
It always happens.
That's Ronin's fault. Totally Ronin's fault. Yep. He's trying to
work out how that happened.
It happened because I try to blame you for something that's my fault.
Yes.
We can blame the Diabolical because he is Finnish. And Rennie Harlin's Finnish. You can blame him.
Yes.
Yes.
They're probably related in some level.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, even David Lynch's grandfather was Finnish or something, or even grandfather. Then they immigrated to America, so I must be related to both David Lynch and Rennie Harlin.
Yeah.
So when you become a filmmaker, you will be able to see both those influences working together.
Yeah.
In harmony. Yes. Well, that's silly.
that bombshell.
Yeah. I just realized we've gone way off track now. We've gone so off track here. We hope you enjoyed this. We hope this gives you ideas. As I said, I'll put the different, all the different choices on the description, so you can, if you want to see the films or want to track them down, we'll have that available so you can find them. But I hope you enjoyed this. You know, but it was rigged by Ronin. He did rig it.
Yeah, by my choosing my backup. Yeah.
Yes, I know. That was a joke. Come on, that was pretty. I was being subtle there.
Yes, my other backup was Japanese as well. So,
all right, that was okay. This was tactical. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks to the Diabolical Dullard for coming along, even though he's pretty much a regular now. So it's like,
not just pretty much, but I am.
Yeah, it's like you can't really call him a guest anymore.
No.
Right. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Tony.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
Yep, and
thank you.
Don't forget Rapa Nui, all of you.
Yes.
Well, that's us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.